All right, here he is, the UFC middleweight king, the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. Back-to-back wins over Yoel Romero. Hard to quantify, though, how difficult those 50 minutes against Yoel Romero were and what type of toll it might take on Whittaker here moving forward.
Yes, but after the Romero fights, there was a lot of time in between fights for Whittaker, which allows you to recover. Because you hear the stories about the guys that say they fight Yoel. No one's like him. No one feels like him. But Robert Whittaker was able to manage that over the course of two very, very difficult fights. And he was able to do that because of the fantastic cardio, the great wrestling mentality, and also the unbelievable striking and the ability to stare down the barrel of a loaded shotgun in Yoel Romero's left hand and feel safe. That allowed Robert Whittaker to keep his belt in both of those instances.
And we knew from his debut in 2012 that he would be something special. He has certainly been every bit that. All right, so the path to UFC middleweight gold and glory continues to go through this man. And without speaking hyperbolically, I do believe this man looks like he could reign for some time.
You know, when you think about middleweight, you think about some great champions, Anderson Silva and Israel Adesanya. This man can be viewed in the same regard because he has ruled atop the division for a really long time. He's ruled it with an iron fist. He is just so good in this role. He is everything you want in a UFC champion.
And he's fighting in his natural weight class. A lot of people wondered aloud if maybe he could become a two-division champion, go down to 70. He don't want to hear that noise. He's looking to pluck off another middleweight title challenger in yet another big spot here tonight. Or tell the tape for this middleweight championship fight. All right, now for the official introductions, we go to the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. It's time! 5 rounds for the undisputed UFC middleweight championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, presenting the challenger, Robert the Reaper Whittaker. And now, introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, ladies and gentlemen, the reigning, defending UFC middleweight champion, Robinson.
Herbert Dean's in the building. He is the third man in the Octagon tonight. All right, so here he is, the UFC champion, and this guy is all the rage. Right now, right there, his opponent's compromised, DC.
It's one thing to land a hard shot. It's another thing completely to land a perfect shot. That was a perfect shot. This is a terrible position.
And he's back to his feet. Good sign for him there. All right, so the big storyline in this one, his offensive prowess, particularly when it's... All right, so now blood is a factor. You see that he has been opened up in that eye area.
Yeah, he's got hit in the eye, and now there's a cut. But it's nothing to worry about too much now. But he's got to be very careful with it as we go forward.
Well, DC kind of just playing with him at this point, right? You think he's got to go in and just get him out of there.
Well, he's trying, but he gets a little bit anxious. So he starts to throw a lot of punches and not the right punches. And because he's throwing so much, he keeps missing. And by doing that, he's missing chances to end this fight.
Oh! Power shots landing on both sides. And the chins continue to hold up. Gets back to his feet. Oh, my goodness. Timely defense there. Huge block for him. Nice straight punch.
Serve him up.
zeros on the check. A huge knockout tonight. Got to think some bonus money's coming his way.
Bonus money is coming his way. When you knock somebody stiff like this, you expect a bonus check. What a phenomenal performance by this young man.
And here once more, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Deans called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 50 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by knockout and still the undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Robinson.
And still the king of the 185-pounders. There he is, the undisputed UFC middleweight champion after the knockout tonight in his title defense. And that's got to feel pretty good. There were a lot of people backing the #1 contender coming in here tonight, but he certainly muted all of